Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to this week's Everton show. As always, there's plenty to reflect on and another big Premier League fixture to preview. And along the way, we'll hear from this lot.
I think today is my best day because I scored three goals. It's my first hat-trick with the team, and I think this victory is very good for the team.
Well, we've come down to visit the supporters branch here at Croston in the Wheatsheaf pub. So it's been a lovely venue. We've had a little bit of fun tonight. We've had a question and answer session. We've engaged with the fans and talked about everything Everton.
He said, would you like to play for Everton? And I'd already made my mind up when he said it's Colin Harvey.
Yeah.
It was as simple as that.
It's amazing, you know. I remember my first game for Everton, and the fact that I pulled that shirt on 400 times is, it's hard to wrap my head around.
Well, we've had some great games already this season, haven't we? And last weekend's 6-2 win against Sunderland is certainly up there with the best of them. Alongside me to dissect an amazing 90 minutes or so is Ian Snowden. It was some game, wasn't it?
Unbelievable game. I thought we were in total control at 2-0. How we couldn't keep a clean sheet before half-time, that was the deciding one. They got back into the game, Sunderland, just before half-time. Sloppy work from ourselves. And then after half-time, it was 2-2. And I would have never thought they would have got back to 2-2, Daz. But then once we got the third goal, for me, it was all over.
6-2 didn't flatter us, Snods, did it?
It didn't because I thought we were comfortable. I know Big Sam said for 7 minutes his team were poor. I thought it was a bit longer than that, to be fair. I thought we played really, really well. And I thought we totally dominated that second half, especially the last half an hour or so.
They couldn't get near us, could they, at times?
No.
More than a poor 7 minutes, that's for sure. Well, as we've alluded to, at 2-0 we were home and dry. At 2-1 we buckled slightly. At 2-2 we started to panic, but at 3-2, 4-2, 5-2 and 6-2 we were celebrating. This is how Roberto Martinez summed up a somewhat lively encounter.
We were a very special team today, and obviously that goes down to the individuals and the understanding that we had between the attacking players. I thought the movement of Romelu Lukaku with the understanding of Aruna Kone, of Ross Barkley, even the fullbacks getting forward, James McCarthy. I thought they were all play from the whole team on the ball was very, very good to watch and very effective. It's never easy to score 6 goals, and we could have scored many more. From that point of view, it was exactly the performance that we wanted. I thought at times we controlled the ball really well, great composure. We knew how to open a very defensive system. Sunderland changed the organisation with a back five, and we knew we had to be very clear on how to break them down, and that showed in our performance. But then obviously you want to always be perfect, and I thought defensively we need to improve a little bit because we got a little bit stretched when we should have controlled that game better. But overall, in the course of the 90 minutes we were a very dominant force, and for me the most important aspect of today's performance is how we reacted once we conceded the equaliser. At that point it was a real test of character, a real test of knowing how and understanding how to use our quality, and we really showed a very impressive side of our play at that point.
Is Aruna showing just what a good player he is, what a top quality striker he is now?
Well, I think he's been showing it for a long while now. I think it really was a turning point in the opening fixture. He had Goodison against Watford when he came on in a very, very difficult environment. He scored a goal, he contributed in the other one, and from that point on I think he's been very, very effective and he's been working really well. Today is a real highlight because he's scoring a hat-trick. It doesn't happen every day, and I thought his overall play was of clear understanding and with the players around him and very effective. It's a phenomenal story, a big important day. He triggered a new 12 months extension in his contract, scores a hat-trick. I thought the chemistry between our number 9 and the crowd was of the historic relationships that we had throughout the football club. I thought it was a real nice afternoon for Aruna, a well-deserved one after an incredible difficult period with a career-threatening injury that he kept him away from showing the form that he's showing now.
Snods, we'll hear very shortly from Aruna Kone, so we'll talk about him in a bit, but Romelu Lukaku, I thought he was excellent.
I did, and it's helpful that Kone is up there. Jerry Deulofeu kept his width on the right-hand side. But Corney, he came in on the left, he joined in with Rom, and I think Rom looks more comfortable when he has got somebody up there with him, and I thought his performance was good, his hold-up play were good, he looked strong, and the experienced Wes Brown just could not cope with Rom.
We've spoken about it a couple of times since the game. Tell us about your favourite moment of the match.
The 6 goals were brilliant for me, but one of Corney's goals, when Rom hit it in with the outside of his left foot, it was an absolute peach of a ball. And I'm not being disrespectful to Rom. I didn't think he had that in his locker, but I tell you what, I know he's got pace, power, strength. He knows where the goal is. But after watching that, Romelu, you've got the lot, mate, because I tell you what, that is something to be proud of. Great ball, outside left foot, perfect for Corney to nod on.
Such a delicate touch, wasn't it, for a big guy? Well, everybody associated with Everton Football Club has revelled in the renaissance of Aruna Kone's Blues career. The Ivorian has picked himself up off the floor and is now proving that at £6 million from Wigan Athletic, he could yet prove to be a bargain buy. And his English, like his football, is on the mend. And he cut a very happy figure when he spoke to Everton TV after the game.
I think today is my best day because I scored three goals. It's my first hat-trick with the team, and I think this victory is very good for the team. Will be continue like that. I think a few weeks ago we play very difficult game against Liverpool, Manchester, and Arsenal, and now we win. I think it's a very good performance for the team.
Are you pleased to get 2 goals with your left foot as well?
Yeah, I think it's the first 2 goals in the left. For me, it's a great day today because the team win and six goals and my first hat-trick.
And you'll be thanking Romelu as well. He's 2 fantastic assists for you.
Yeah, Romelu outside the pitch is my best friend, and in the pitch as well. Romelu played very well, and the team as well. But Romelu gave me two assists, a very good assist, and thank you for this assist, and thank you for all the team for this performance.
We've seen the celebration where you've rubbed Romelu's, but maybe it should be the other way around this next time.
Yeah, I speak with Rom before the game, and when I score, it's a little bit dancing in Africa dancing, and that is natural.
And a fantastic team performance all round. So many players played excellently today.
Yeah, it's very good. The team played very well, and I think now the keep is very good. We have to play like that to win many match, and it's always difficult play at home because it's very fun pressure, but it's positive pressure, and we win today, and I think next week we will play like that to win as well.
How nice is it to see Aruna Kone with a big beaming smile across his face? Well, since recovering from his own injury, Seamus Coleman is starting to look more like his old self with every passing game. The Irishman is looking to remain a permanent fixture in the first team now, and is confident that there's plenty more to come from the team after last weekend's morale-boosting defeat of Sunderland.
We're happy. You know, we started well, and we let them back into the game, which was disappointing. But now we're delighted with the win. We're convincing in front of goal, and our attacking players really showed up today.
Good character from the lads to sort of keep going when it got back to 2-2.
Yeah, you know, maybe last season we might have crumbled a little bit under the pressure of conceding 2 goals, but you know, we've got a very good threat going forward. Especially, you know, I thought Jerry was good, and Aruna, obviously hat-trick, and Rom was good. So now we're delighted, and we know we carry a threat now.
I should imagine the lads are absolutely buzzing for Aruna after that 3-goal haul.
Yeah, delighted. You know, he's been working hard month by month ever since he's come back from his injury, and he's getting better and better, and I'm sure that goal will give him the world of confidence as well, and hopefully he can kick on again.
3 good finishes, weren't they?
Yeah, very good goals. There's that many goals. I can't remember them all nearly, but no, he took them well. I still remember his first goal, 1-2 at Rom at the edge of the box, which was a great finish, and then Rom put in a lovely cross for him as well. So now the attacking players really complemented each other today.
We understand you'd been struggling with a bit of a bug all week. How was it out there?
Yeah, no, I was fine out there. Obviously, I had a bit of a tough week, but the manager looked after me and he didn't play me Tuesday night against Norwich, and slowly but surely getting back to myself. But I'm just glad to be back in the pitch.
You're looking forward to kicking on in that right back position now. A few sort of stop starts this season, isn't there?
Yeah, a few stop starts. Obviously, you get that throughout the season. It's all part of being a footballer, and it happens to everyone. But no, I'm looking forward to kicking on now, and looking forward to next week.
Great to see Seamus Coleman back up to full speed, Snoz, but let's just go back to Aruna Kone. Everybody's delighted for him. Yeah, no more so than me, to be quite honest. I know what it's like to be injured a lot, and Aruna has had his injury problems, but now he's looking a £6 million bargain. Because I tell you what, his performance the other day, his performances this season have been really, really good. He looks strong, he looks as though he's enjoying it, and it's great. The crowd are right behind him now, and it makes a massive difference to his confidence, that. He's a terrific footballer, isn't he, Aruna Kone? Well, that's just about it for part one of this week's show. Coming up after the break, we'll have a look at an amazing goal from our under-18s win against Derby County. We visit the Croston Blues. And listen to this, we hear from a Grammy-winning, Oscar-performing, Disney soundtrack singing soul music legend. Welcome back to this week's Everton show, and I'm sure you're all still wondering just who the soul-singing legend is. But before that, let's enjoy Liam Walsh netting one of the goals of the season during the under-18s 2-0 victory against Derby County last weekend. Snoz, this is Derby County away, under-18s. What about that? Fantastic goal. Absolutely fantastic goal. You've got to be a special player to do something like that. The vision, the technique, and on most of all, the confidence to do that. Does terrific goal, Walshy. You like Liam Walsh, don't you? I do. I think he's a great little player. I think he loves a little tattle. He loves getting on the ball. He loves little simple passes. He can play long passes. Yeah, I think he's got a bright future, the kid. People always say he likes to tackle. He likes throwing himself about. The boy can play, can't he? He can play. There's nothing wrong with throwing a tackle in, but I know it's not needed so much in the modern game, but technically he's a very, very good player, and he's confident as well. Always wants the ball, does, and that's what I like about him. He takes a good free kick as well. He's got that dip that the likes of Ronaldo have got. And he's not big in stature, is he? No. And he's got a big heart, the lad, and technically, as you said, he can strike a ball, but he's a wonderful football player. The 18's are top of the table. Now, everybody says it's all about development, and the object at academy level is to provide Roberto with first-team players, but the boys and the coaches will enjoy being top of the league, won't they? It is all about players getting in the first team, but let me tell you, the Kevin Sheedys, the Tates, the coaches, John Doolan, Sean London, they'll want to top that league. Don't worry about that. And the boys will themselves. They go out to win a game of football, and if you're winning, that breeds confidence, and the players are playing well. So the manager will be delighted with them. You know yourself, having come through the ranks as a professional footballer, it's never too early to instill a winning mentality into a young boy. No, it isn't. And yeah, it's different when you're a 7, 8, 9-year-old. Let them go out and enjoy it. The result doesn't really matter in them instance. But when you start playing 14, 15, 16, the results do matter, and your performances matter as well. The coach rotation at under-18 level seems to be working. Yeah, I didn't think it'd work at first. I really didn't. I thought, could be rather strange hearing a different voice every 1 or 2 months. But it seems to be the top of the league in the 18s. I know David Unsworth's benefiting it at 21 level, that the lads are coming through and playing at his level as well. So all's well at the academy at the minute. All's well at Finch Farm. So far, so good. Well, as Snod says, Liam Walsh certainly does enjoy a tackle. And as we saw, he's certainly got an eye for a spectacular goal. The teenage midfielder was understandably delighted when he spoke to Everton TV after that Derby County game.
I said to one of the lads at the start of the game that I'd just have a goal from the halfway. See whether it would work out or not, and it fell to me nicely on a counter-attack, and I've got my head up, look at the keeper, and just gone for it.
Must be one of the best goals you scored?
It's up there with one of the best, like, yeah, that I can remember.
And that win takes us to the top of the table as well. How important is that for us?
I've played a few for them this season, and every time I've played we've looked strong, like strongest team in the league. And then to go top of the league now, it just takes a bit of stress off the shoulders, and now everyone can relax.
As you say, you've played in the under-18s a few times this season. How much talent is in that group?
There's a lot. Like everyone that's played in the team, you can see that like they're all confident on the ball. Everyone works together, and that even the subs that come on, they always have an impact on the game. So I think we can all like trust each other on the ball, which obviously wins us games, isn't it?
And looking at the last 2 seasons for the under-18s, just missed out last season, won the title the year before. Is there a determination to win it this season? Yeah,
I think we've got a good chance, because I think we'll certainly win this league, and then we'll go into the next league to hopefully win the cup against Chelsea and teams like that, the best teams. But I think this under-18 side is the best that we've had.
We touched on you going between the under-18s and the 21s before. How difficult is that for you?
It's a bit difficult because the talent from the 21s and the 18s is a big difference. Like, it's the biggest step in football probably. And going from the 18s to the 21s, you know that you have to perform better to try and get yourself in the team, which I'm trying to do now. But I'll just keep pushing on and working as hard as I can.
Liam was there, a young footballer with a very big future. Well, fan engagement is always very high up on our priority list here at Everton Football Club, and getting out and about to meet our supporters clubs is a regular thing. Earlier this week we made the short journey to the village of Croston to meet one of our newer supporters clubs, and a good night was had by all.
Well, we've come down to visit the supporters branch here at Croston in the Wheatsheaf pub. So it's been a lovely venue. We've had a little bit of fun tonight. We've had a question and answer session. We've engaged with the fans and talked about everything Everton. We've given them the opportunity to fire some questions at us as well, and had a little bite to eat and a couple of drinks. So it's all in all, it's been a really enjoyable evening, and it's gone down very well.
To be entertained by the Graham Stewart and Ian Snowden. It's been a fantastic night. We've had a lot of information given to us tonight as well about the fans initiative, and it's just a credit to Everton Football Club that they start to come and see the fans. Things are changing for the good, and the fans are playing a real part for the future of what happens at Everton, and I think it's a great thing that this is happening.
Well, it's vitally important, because at the end of the day, without your fans, you're nothing, and we recognise that at Everton. And we need to look after the fans, and this is just one of a number of events that we've done over the last 18 months or so to try and engage a little bit more with the fans, to come out and see these supporters groups, and I think they appreciate it, and we appreciate them giving us our time.
It's a lovely village, Croston. It was a lovely venue, and it was a good night, Snods.
It was a good night, and I didn't realise Graham Stewart were as funny as he were. You know, after travelling in with him every day, I thought he was boring, really, but he was quite funny on that night.
He was on fire, wasn't he?
He was on fire, to be fair, but yeah, it was great, and it's so important that we get out as a club, out to these supporters clubs. I know Christine Pryor, it's her idea, and I think it's a great idea, and all the members enjoyed it. We had a lovely little hot pot, a couple of drinks, as you say, and I thought the evening was absolutely fantastic.
I think the format as well is just about perfect, because it's relaxed and it's informal, but it's very informative for the supporters.
Yeah, it is, and it's important you get both sides of that, because as ex-players, or if any players are going to turn up in future, you don't want to be grilled on certain things that you're uncomfortable with. But they realised that in Croston, and it was relaxed, but we also give them information. Richard Kenyon were there, he gave them information about the clubs, tickets, etc. So it's beneficial to both us as a club and to them as supporters clubs.
It's important, in fact, it's absolutely essential to give a little bit back, isn't it, and show the supporters that you are appreciated.
Yeah, we do care. We do care about them. It's as simple as that. I know they do the fan zone every home game. Me and Graham Stewart go on there for 10-15 minutes. And I just want to say, the other night against Norwich, it was a cold night. It was a midweek game, and there were thousands, probably 2,000 in that fan zone, and loads of kids, and it was just fantastic. And it shows that Everton are leading the way in that they care about the fans.
And that's nice and relaxed as well, isn't it? The fan zone.
It is. It is. We have a challenge as well every week, and Diamond's winning it, so I need to book up my ideas and get on the score sheet.
You should have won the Jenga, that's for sure.
Oh, the Jenga. No, it weren't my scene, the Jenga.
Right, something completely different now. Who remembers the 1980s love song, Tonight I Celebrate My Love for You? I'm sure Snods did, he must have danced to it. Or A Whole New World, the theme tune to the Disney blockbuster Aladdin. Of course you do. And our next guest on the Everton show sang them both. Peebo Bryson was at Goodison Park recently, and he sat down with me to confirm just how much he enjoyed his Everton experience.
Well, I'm a football fan, and I got tired of watching it on television. Telly's great, but I wanted to experience it for myself, and Everton being my team, and Tim Howard being from America and a great goalie. So he's helping football in America become more of what it should be. And every year, I think American football is getting better. It's not close to what it is here, but it's a lot closer than it used to be, and it's getting closer in leaps and bounds every year, I think.
You can see that on the international stage. The US men's senior team is now a very good side in world football.
Exactly. I mean, no, they can make some noise, and that's a good thing. I mean, we have good players from all over the place, and soccer in America, we're starting to teach our kids very, very, very young. So we're probably a generation or two off from catching up.
What have you made of Goodison Park?
I can't believe that something this old has gotten this good, and it's so functional. And I didn't realize what European football really was until I walked, until we got out after coming into those gates and realizing it's not just it's a village. It's actually a couple of villages. So I didn't realize it was that intense and that separate.
That's where I think English football is still a little bit behind American soccer. It's more of an entertainment package a day at the game, isn't it, in America?
Yes, it is. They're trying, but I don't know. To me, after being here today and seeing what I've seen, I like the way you do it. I'd kind of like to incorporate a lot of that into American football, and I think if we could get that, then we'd probably catch up a little sooner.
And you're going to keep watching Everton, keep an eye on Everton's results when
Absolutely.
You get back to the States?
And you know, and I hope that at some point come and sing the national anthem for them.
That would be cool.
That would be cool for me.
Snods, I'll be honest, when we muted this idea to have our TV programme, I never dreamt that Peebo Bryson would be a special guest. Are you into your soul music, your Motown?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I like the 60s music. I like the Drifters, the Temptations, etc. because to sing along songs, and I think I've got a decent little voice for myself. But yeah, I love that kind of music, to be honest.
Did you have any influence on the music in the dressing room at Everton?
Not a lot, really. When you've got Big Neville in charge of the Getter Blaster, nobody really had a say, and the music he used to put on, oh my. I used to go out for about a 45-minute warm-up just to get away from the music he used to play.
Some of the stuff they play in the dressing room now as well, never heard of it. It's too loud.
I can imagine. I just used to like to relax, go and do my warm-up, get ready, get back in the dressing room, get ready and get out to play. I went into the music before the game.
No iPods then, were there?
No. iPod, what are they? Even now.
Well, my good friend Peebo there has brought part 2 of this week's show to a close. After the break, it's time for our big interview. And this week we feature another of Ian Snowden's sit-down chats. This week with Mike Newell. Welcome back to part 3 of this week's Everton show. It's the big interview section now, and this week we speak to one of only 2 Scousers to have ever won a Premier League title. Now, most people guess Wayne Rooney as being one of them, but the other is a little bit more testing. The answer is Mike Newell, who did it with Blackburn Rovers in 1995. Newell also played 94 times for Everton, and he sat down with Snods recently to chat about his career.
We'll start off growing up in Liverpool as a young kid, because you went on and signed for Liverpool.
Yeah, I was with Liverpool from 12 years old. Never had academies in them days. It was basically what would be School of Excellence. I got an invite from John Benison, who used to run the youth teams down there then. And all they had in them days was an A and a B team that played professionally. So at 12 years old, you basically trained on a Tuesday and a Thursday night at Melwood. And I trained there right up until I was 18 years old, but never got offered anything. I was never going to be, I was never going to break through into their youth teams or their reserves, and it was probably the best thing that happened to me.
So in between Liverpool as a young kid to signing for the Mighty Blues, where did you go from? What clubs were you in between?
Well, I got released from Liverpool at 18 years old. I'd stayed on and done my A-levels at SFX. They thought that was the best thing, rather than offer me a whitey and then not be able to offer you anything. And Dario Gradi had just took over at Crewe at the time.
Yeah.
So he was asking Liverpool, asking Everton, for any kids that you release, I'll take them on trial. He gave me a trial game which was actually against Manchester United reserves, and he signed me that night on a month-to-month contract, and within a week I'd made my league debut. I played 3 games in the league for Crewe, and within that month Wigan Athletic had been watching me, Harry McNally, and at the end of that month he obviously offered me another month, but Wigan Athletic were a division above, in the 3rd division, and offered me a year's contract, and it was the year's contract that I wanted more than anything, to try and prove myself, you know, a little bit of time to try and prove myself.
And after Wigan, you played so many games for them. After Wigan, where was it then on to?
Well, I signed for Luton then, who were in the 1st division and who had a really good side. I had 18 months there. I then signed for Leicester, and it was from Leicester that Colin Harvey come.
So how did that come about, Colin? Because I was there at the time, obviously.
Yeah.
How did Colin approach you, or did they put a bid in first before they got to
Well, they
speak
must
to
have
you,
put a
or?
bid in. You wouldn't believe, I mean, the negotiations that go on nowadays, and and the agents that get involved, and the time that it takes to sign a player. I am not, no word of a lie, Colin Harvey rang me up. I was at home in Northampton, where I lived, playing for Leicester, and Colin said, "Hello, Mike, it's Colin Harvey." Now, I knew what he was going to say, because I'd never spoken to Colin or met Colin in my life before. So there'd been rumours of a bid coming in. He'd obviously had permission from David Pleat, who was the manager at Leicester at the time, to speak to me or to phone me. And he said, "Would you like to play for Everton?" And I'd already made my mind up when he said it's Colin Harvey.
Yeah.
It was as simple as that for a lad who'd grown up in Liverpool, not signed for Liverpool, but was desperate, and this was the one ambition that I had, to play in a derby game.
Yeah.
So from Colin saying it's Colin Harvey, I'd almost signed. And when he said, "Would you like to play for Everton?" I said, "Colin, I would love to play for Everton Football Club," and that was it. And I'm telling you now, I'd got in the car. I'd driven up to Liverpool, to my dad's house, who lived in Liverpool, picked my dad up, and we were at Belfield within 3 hours of that phone call, and we'd signed. Tell a lie, we hadn't signed because we had to go down to Goodison Park to sign the forms.
Right.
Jim Greenwood was the secretary. We'd agreed personal terms within 3 hours of that phone call, and I was in Northampton when he rang me.
Just explain to us, as a lad growing up in Liverpool, what it means as a Liverpool kid playing in a Merseyside derby.
Well,
It must be incredible. It is incredible for me. I played in numerous, but I was from Yorkshire.
Well, for anybody, any kid who grows up in the city, if you're a Glasgow lad and you play for Celtic or Rangers or Manchester, or it's a Tottenham Arsenal game, surely it's got to be the same. It's all that people talk about, particularly in this city.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's everything, and just pulling the shirt on, and you know, that hour before, and we were actually top of the league. It was September, and we'd played, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 games, something like that, and we were top of the league, and Liverpool was second, and so you can't get a bigger derby.
No.
The ground was bouncing. We were in the dressing rooms. You didn't warm up a lot the way they warmed up these days. So you're sitting down there and you're reading a programme, or you're doing your stretches and whatever, and you can feel the ground physically bouncing. Yeah. And it's
a weird feeling.
But you're like that, and you're 3 or 4 visits to the toilet, and it's fantastic. It was everything that I wanted. You know, we didn't get the results, and but to score after 17 minutes, what a feeling.
But the one at Goodison in the Cup, the 4-0, was absolutely seesaw. Every minute of the game, something were happening. Must have been a fantastic game to play in.
And you remember it, and you remember every goal like it was yesterday. I'd been suspended for the first game. You know, not many people remember that there was a 0-0 at Anfield for the first game. And I'd been suspended, and it was the best result ever for me.
For a replay?
For a replay, yeah, because, you know, even if we'd knocked them out, I'd have been a bit gutted that I hadn't played in the derby in the FA Cup. Yeah. So the 0-0 was, all I wanted then was to get in the team. And Howard's put me in, 4-4, we've been behind 4 times. They've scored 4 magnificent goals, and we've scored 4 scrappy goals, if you like.
We did.
So, but we were never out of it. We were never out of it. And then Tony Cottage come on in the last, I don't know, what was it? 15, 20 minutes, or was it longer than that? Was it extra time?
That's right, when no extra time.
And he's scored the last 2 goals. Goes to a replay. I've never known a demand for tickets in the city in my life like it. It was, and I must have had to get 50 by 50 tickets for friends and family. I mean, there were obviously people who weren't at that game who were desperate not to miss the next game. And in the meantime, Kenny had retired.
That's right, he
resigned. And Waggy scored the winner in the game. In replay, we were through to play West Ham.
One of the best games you played in?
The 4-4.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Throughout your career, I'm not just on about your Everton career. Throughout your career, that must have been one.
Yeah, without because of the atmosphere, because of what it meant.
Yeah.
It was end to end. We were never out of it, and just the ending at the end of that game, and the ending going through, knocking them out the cup a week later, it'll stick with you forever, yeah.
Smashing interview, that's Nods.
Great, yeah, he speaks well, Newley. He's a good lad, get on with him great, and when he sits down like that, he speaks well, but that's the first interview or first get-together. He had water and I had sparkling water. Quite impressive.
It's not like you and Newley, by the way.
Exactly.
You were at Everton when Mike Newell signed for the club from Leicester City, saying there Colin Harvey brought him in. He started off like a house on fire, didn't he?
He started great. He really did, and he was probably one of the most unselfish players I've seen play. You ask Alan Shearer about him, and Alan scored loads of goals through Newley's work rate. He used to put himself about. He used to go in tackles that he shouldn't have gone in. He used to go for headers that he had no chance of getting. He was a brave lad. He could run all day, and you're right, he started off brilliantly for us.
He was quick as well, wasn't he?
He was.
He had a little bit of everything, Newley, for a centre-forward.
He did. He was brave. He was certainly brave, and he would run all day. But the most annoying thing about him, in training, if you had a five-a-side, he'd know the score, even if it was 17-16. He'd know it. And Colin would shout, next goal winner, and he'd go, well, wait a minute, we're 3 up. What? And I'm saying, Newley, let's just get in. Let's get it over with and get in. But he was a great pro, Newley.
And he's an example to a young player from any era, because his dream was to play for Liverpool. He freely admits that. Got released by Liverpool and clawed his way back.
He did. It's fantastic that he was a big Liverpool fan. We used to give him a lot of stick about that. But you show when he scored the goal against Liverpool, he shows when you put on that blue shirt, whoever you support, it don't matter, because he celebrated like a massive Evertonian. And he's done it the hard way, Newley. He really has. He went back down to lower levels, came up again, and he had a terrific career.
Said some interesting things as well, which I'm sure the viewers picked up on. Talking about the pre-match before the Merseyside derby, we didn't go out and do a warm-up.
We didn't really, because especially if it were cold, you just stay in the dressing room by the heater and just. Apparently, Alan Hansen, great player he were, just used to stretch out as top of he could, touch his toes and go, right, that's us, we're ready. And to be fair, you used to go about, just kick a few balls on the pitch and stuff like that. But overall, now, touch your toes, have a little twist of your body, and you were ready for action. Nothing like today. I couldn't play for when I did this warm-up that the boys do. I'd be shattered.
The 4-4 game was an astonishing football match, wasn't it?
that was at a period that I had my long-term injury, and I remember my dad coming over from Doncaster, and we sat in that stand, and the emotions that day, from being deflated when Liverpool kept leading to euphoria when we kept equalising. And I've got to admit, it's probably the best game I have seen live. He had everything, great goals, as you said, but just the way we kept coming back at him. Goodison was absolutely, like Newley said, rocking that day. Great game to watch.
Before you played in a Merseyside derby, could you actually physically feel the vibration of the stadium?
Especially at Goodison. You were sat in that dressing room beforehand, and you could hear the roar and everything. Liverpool, a little bit different. You didn't want to hear much when you played over there, but there were great games to play in, difficult ones.
Well, plenty more interviews to come from Snods in the future, by the way, on the Everton show, so look out for them. And that's just about it for part 3. In part 4, we'll be looking ahead to our weekend visit to the East End of London. Welcome back to the 4th and final part of this week's show, and after that splendid 6-2 victory against the Black Cats last weekend, we'll be looking to nail the Hammers this Saturday when we go to Upton Park, and our recent record, Snods at Upton Park, is very good.
Very, very good, and Big Rom loves playing there. Scores regularly against them, so let's hope he's got his shooting boots on, and we can come back with all 3 points, and I can't see why we can't, Daz. That 6-2 victory will give the boys great confidence to go down there. But as you said, we've got a good record down there. I don't think... They're playing well, don't get me wrong, under Slaven Bilic. But I think the away performances have been better than their own performances. And I really do think we've got a great chance of bringing 3 points back.
And you've always got a chance when the confidence is there amongst the players that they know we've got goals in us.
Well, let's hope that West Ham set the store and they come out at us. And I think they will. We're playing at home, and that gives us a great opportunity to counter-attack them, which I think is a strong point of our game, the way that we play. We've got 2 holding midfield players in there. So I think we'll be able to break on West Ham, and I definitely think we will score against them without a doubt.
Lovely place to play your football as well, isn't it? Upton Park. Well, as we said, our recent record at West Ham is excellent, with 7 wins and 2 draws from our last 9 visits to Upton Park, or the Berlin ground, as they now like to call it. The Hammers are in decent nick this season so far, but it's a fixture that Brendan Galloway is very much looking forward to.
I'll never forget that day, you know, making my Premier League debut for this club was a really special day, and, you know, I remember that we got the 2-1 win, which made it even better.
And how far do you think you've come since that debut?
I think that I've come a long way, but I think that there's still huge amounts to be worked on, huge amount of places to go. We want to win trophies here, want to make history, so just always working hard to try and better ourselves and better the team.
Looking at West Ham, they've started this season well. A new manager, what have you made to their start of the season?
Yeah, they've been doing really well. You know, I think that some of the players that they've brought in have added a bit of an extra threat. Especially Payet, I watch him a lot closely. I think that he's been probably their star player so far this season, and they can be a joy to watch sometimes. But just want to focus on the game, and I think that we can go there and get the 3 points.
It's always important to go into an international break on a high as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think that if we win, then the whole international break will be just give us that extra boost. But if we don't, we have 2 weeks until we can try and make it up, and that's a long time to wait to play again to try and get another win. So ending on a high before the international break is always going to be positive.
And just finally as well, a quick word on Leighton Baines on his way back from injury now. How much has he helped you this season?
Yeah, really helped me. You know, he's a fantastic player on and off the pitch, and looking forward to welcoming him back into the squad.
Brendan Galloway, Snods, I tell you what, he carries himself really well, doesn't he?
Tell you what, it comes over brilliantly. I know if you'd have put a camera in front of me at 19-year-old, I wouldn't have been able to give an interview like that. He speaks so well, he's comfortable with the camera, and he's certainly comfortable on a football pitch because he's a terrific footballer.
I think it's fair to say everyone was surprised last season, before that game when we played West Ham away, our last away game of last season, to see Brendan Galloway's name on the team sheet, but he just projects himself on and off the field like a seasoned Premier League pro.
Yeah, he does. I'd watched him a couple of times in the 21, and when he got the call up, I thought, is he ready? And in fairness, Brendan just got caught in the first couple of games, just watching ball. But, hey, 18, 19-year-old, you're making mistakes right up to when you finish your career. So I ain't going to criticise him on watching a ball at 19-year-old. But he's improving and improving. And I'll tell you what, he won the Player of the Month last month, and deservedly so. This boy, he's got a good talent, and they tell me he's a better centre-half. He must be some player if he's a better centre-half than the performances he's giving now.
And he's not afraid to be self-critical. He prefers to speak about the things he needs to improve on.
Yeah, and that's great. He knows that he's had a good run of games. He knows the crowd like him. He's playing really well. But he also knows that he's got a lot more to learn. And that learning curve, he'll learn off the experienced players as well. And if he listens, he'll be top draw.
He certainly will. He's a great kid as well. Well, from the youngest member of the first team squad to the oldest, Tim Howard's appearance against Sunderland last weekend was his 400th in all competitions for Everton. A terrific achievement. Well, it's a surefire bet, isn't it, that on Saturday it'll be his 401st, but the American knows it will be no stroll at Upton Park.
It's amazing, you know. I remember my first game, you know, for Everton, and the fact that I've pulled that shirt on 400 times is, you know, it's hard to wrap my head around. It's an impressive target. It's something that means a lot to me because I've enjoyed every minute of being an Evertonian and being here and just being a part of this famous club, and it's special to me.
When you think back to your very first day here, being a loan spell, I guess you never envisaged that it could go on to become what it has.
Well, that's right. I mean, I came on loan, and you hope for a lot of things, and you wish you had the power to write the future, but you don't, you know. And it was day by day kind of thing, and I think it's a testament to, you know, hard work and getting your head down, and you know, just putting a shift in every day, you know, and then eventually I think you get your rewards. And I've been fortunate to play for 2 top managers, brilliant teammates. I've, you know, thankfully stayed away from long-term injuries, and you know, I'm proud of that record.
401 this weekend against West Ham, a team who've been in really decent form up until this weekend at least, and you know it'll be a difficult game down there, but how important to keep that winning feeling going? Yeah,
you know, a feeling that we had in the dressing room on Sunday is you can't beat that feeling. If you could bottle it and sell it, you'd be a quadruple billionaire, because it's the most special feeling in the world. It really, really is, and we're going to try and keep that going. You know, we always seem to be very resilient down at West Ham. You know, always, and look forward to that challenge. They've been playing well, credit to them. You know, but no doubt the manager will put a game plan in place that, if we implement and execute, we'll get the right result.
Snods, we mentioned a few minutes ago just how well Brendan Galloway projects himself. Tim Howard is an absolute dream to work with.
Yeah, fantastic. Speaks really well. And I've been up to Finch Farm, and he always comes up to the ex-players, makes himself known to us. He's great to be around. But on that training pitch, he mentioned it, Daz, there, he works exceptionally hard, and he's been under a little bit of criticism. But what Tim does, he goes and works on it, and he'll work and he'll work and he'll work, and that makes him and that's why he's played 400 league games for Everton Football Club. He's been great since the day he arrived.
He was under pressure against Sunderland, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was under pressure. Big Joel come in, and he's doing ever so well, Joel. But the boss has said Tim's number 1. He is number 1, so he was under scrutiny against Sunderland, but he pulled a couple of great saves off early doors.
Well, as we've mentioned, trips to West Ham have tended to prove fruitful for Everton in the Premier League era. It's a record Roberto Martinez will be looking to preserve this weekend as we pay our final ever league visit to Upton Park before the Hammers make their big move to the Olympic Stadium next summer.
I think the 2 best teams that we've seen of here, the most impressive teams that we've seen in the league is Leicester and West Ham. For different reasons. I think Leicester just playing with no fear mentality and having an outstanding moment of form for one of their strikers. I think West Ham is a bit different. I think it's a new manager coming in, playing in a different way, working in a different way, keeping the good aspects of a group that they've been working together, and then just the type of opposition that they've been facing. They've been facing all the top teams in the division, so it's not that they've been through a lucky spell that facing easy opposition. if anything, they've been achieving incredible results and incredible performance against the top teams, and probably they found it a little bit tougher with teams that they expected to beat. But I think West Ham, in my eyes, they've been the surprising team, but not surprising team because they didn't deserve it. Surprising team because they've been a very, very good level consistently against the top teams, and clearly at the weekend we're going to see a team that they want to bounce back from the disappointment, and they've got a really, really strong side with a well-balanced team throughout their squad.
Snods were up against a former Everton player at the weekend, Big Slaven Bilic. He's done a good job.
He's done a terrific job. They're an exciting team to watch. Got a lot of flair in there, and yeah, it'd be no easy game without a shadow of a doubt, because they have played quite well this season. But I just feel we've got something away from home to hurt them.
You look at last weekend's fixtures. If Watford can beat West Ham, so should we. It's not that easy, though.
It isn't that easy. I wish it were, because it'd be great to go down there and get the victory, but they'll want to bounce back as well after a disappointing result that they feel they perhaps should have got 3 points against Watford. All right, it was at Watford. But no, he'll have his team wound up today to bounce back, but hopefully Roberto will have the boys full of confidence, hopefully ready to come back up that motorway with 3 points.
We'll miss Upton Park, won't we?
We will. It's a difficult place to go and play football. They're quite boisterous. Their supporters, to say the least, as well, give the opposition a lot of stick, but it will be missed. And yeah, it was a great ground to play football.
Well, I'm sure we'll see off Upton Park with a packed away end, we always do. And that's just about it for another jam-packed Everton show. Not many footy programmes will bring you a 50-yard goal, a visit to a Lancashire village, and a sit-down interview with Peebo Bryson, will they? But that's the Everton show for you. My thanks to Snods for his input this week, and to all of you for your company, and also for your continued positive feedback. We seem to be doing rather well, don't we? And we'll have more of the same next week.